And joining me now is a leader on the president's coronavirus task force, the nation's top infectious disease doctor, Anthony Fauci. Sir, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
So 1 week ago, we were reporting 19 deaths, 490 infected. Today, the count is at least 60 deaths, almost 3,000 infected. And you say, as we heard, that the virus may continue to get worse for another 2 months. There have been estimates of hundreds of thousands of people in the U.S. who could die, or in the worst case scenario, millions. Can you tell the American people that that is possible?
You know, it's possible because when you do a model, you have a worst case scenario, the best case scenario, and the reality is how you react to that will depend where you're going to be on that curve. So obviously, we are clearly going to have more infections. There's going to be more problems with regard to morbidity and mortality. The challenge we have right now is how do we blunt that? You know, I've said many times, if you just leave it alone and let the virus to its own devices, it'll go way up and then it'll come down naturally over a period of several weeks. Unfortunately for our colleagues in Italy and in France and certainly in China, that's what happened. Our challenge right now is to do two things, is to prevent the new influx of cases, hence the travel restrictions. And for what we're dealing with right now is to know that we're going to get more infections, but blunt it so that we don't have that sharp peak, that we have more of a smaller hump. Even with that, we're going to have people getting infected, but we need to try and get there as opposed to there.
I do think one of the important points of illustrating for people the number of people who could die is that it really makes it clear to them why it's so important to do what they should be doing. So to stem the tide of this, are you thinking that hundreds of thousands of Americans could die from this?
You know, I say that and it sometimes gets taken out of context, but we have to be realistic and honest. Yes, it is possible. Our job, our challenge is to try and make that not happen. But to think if we go about our daily lives and not worry about everything, that it's not going to happen. It could happen and it could be worse. To me, that's a real impetus to take very seriously the kinds of things. I might make a point that people sometimes think that you're overreacting. I like it when people are thinking I'm overreacting because that means we're doing it just right.
On Friday, Italy reported there were 250 people who died just in a 24-hour period. And according to the New York Times, there's a Seattle area hospital that sent a memo out saying, quote, our local COVID-19 trajectory is likely to be similar to that of northern Italy. Is that what you're expecting?
No, if we do not successfully do what I just said, prevent infections from coming in and dealing with the ones we have, this is a bad virus. Certainly, it is conceivable that if we don't do that, you could get as bad as Italy. But I don't think we're going there if we do the kinds of things that we are publicly saying we need to do. We need to be very serious about, for a while, life is not going to be the way it used to be in the United States. We have to just accept that if we want to do what's best for the American public.